Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman once again, DC Camp, Ranch Grade Millstone, back for another video. But first and foremost, call all Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kodash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Well, salutations go out to the fellow Akin that are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, and also uploading numerous videos that help push this truth out across four corners of the earth. Alright, here's a disclaimer because I'm going to be using Slakia once again in video. Copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use. For use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So here we go. And sadly enough, this is concerning these Jake conservatives who really think they're, I don't know, doing something, doing the Lord's work as they see it. You know, they're full of hate and self-loathing. This is Dark Brandon. The leopards eating your face type of thing. This is his site. So let's just get into it. Alright, Jason Whitlock helped build up white nationalism, and now he's scared. Hold on. Yes, full of self-loathing. I mean, at the end of the day, you want the love of your oppressor versus the love of Yahushua.
Today we're going to look at a person named Jason Whitlock. He actually was a sports commentator on ESPN and then went over to The Blaze, where he has his own show. And for those who don't know, The Blaze is formerly Glenn Beck's network. Glenn Beck still works there, but he sold it off, and it's ran now by someone else. Nonetheless, this is very interesting what we're looking at today. The right has created a monster, and Jason Whitlock played a big role in this. And now they're very worried that the monster's biting back. And so what we're going to be looking at more specifically is Jason Whitlock very concerned about people like the Cartier family embracing Nick Fuentes' ideas. I mean, here, just to let you know the kind of character we're talking about in Jason Whitlock. In April of 2025, he objected to the presence of female commentators on NBA broadcasts. He said, every time I turn on ESPN, there's always a female co-host. Half the NBA playoffs, I got women describing the game for me. Not only that, he prefaced his remarks. He said, he basically self-labeled himself as a sexist pig and one of the worst peoples on the planet. And this was because he anticipated backlash.
The Cartier family clip is important because it speaks about the pervasiveness, effectiveness, the acceptance of Nick Fuentes with young men. Because I'm not the only one that's pointed out, like, hey man, the young men that I mentor, involve myself with, just talk with, they're all reacting to Nick Fuentes. They all have some sort of attraction to Nick Fuentes and his message. And we can't keep ignoring this. And
Let me, for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, Nick Fuentes went after him. Let's see.
Show coming out called The Rick Strom Show at this
Hold
point.
on. I'm trying to remember. Hadn't been that long ago. But he he actually told the truth here. This, let's see, do I have him? Yeah. Now there's been some talk, that I'm not going to go into because I don't know for certain about, some of his background. Here he is, a far-right political pundit, activist, and live streamer who promotes white supremacist, homophobic, misogynistic, and anti-Semitic views. Fuentes has prompted anti-Semitic conspiracy theories against Jews, called for a holy war against them, and has denied the Holocaust. All right. He has been described as a neo-Nazi by various sources. Fuentes identifies as a member of the Incel movement, a supporter of authoritarianism and integralist, and a Christian nationalist. What the hell is an integralist? Let's see, is an interpretation of Catholic social teaching. Oh, okay, wow. That argues the principles that the Catholic faith should be the basis of public law and public policy within civil society. Wherever the preponderance of Catholics within that society makes this possible, integralism is anti-pluralist, seeking the Catholic faith to be dominant in civil and religious matters. All right, so, I mean, more white supremacist BS at the end of the day. Yeah, so this is this person here. So let's get into this. And this is what he said about Mr. Whitlock.
Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't. Because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas, and everybody knows it.
This was a shocking piece of video to take in.
But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your would be gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaefer.
Elijah Schaefer was fired for allegedly sexually harassing and abusing women in the workplace, dude. Come on. Moving on.
Because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility.
Let's be clear. This man is quite literally the white devil.
There's jealousy. There is some sort of belief that I'm immune to the consequences of my journalistic standards, of my approach to journalism. When you have put together, when God has put together for you the journalistic career that I've put together, and I'm sorry, that God has put together for me.
Hilarious. This dude thinks he's a journalist. Onward.
This thought that I'm here to confer dignity on white conservatives. I'm here to defend Christian values.
Unequivocally false. But he does use
Yeah, and you know, I can't listen to too much more. The guy was right. I can't feel sorry for people like this, Larry Elder, the Officer Tatum, and all these other assholes defending Christian principles. What the fuck? That's actually, my dude, what you're doing is upholding and pushing Edomite/white supremacy. That's it. He called you out. He told the truth. That's what you are. You're doing this, all right, because you're just doing what the so-called white man is or can't because of the laws, all right, can't do. Things that they can't say outwardly without certain penalties, repercussions. All right, that's it. That's why you have the job that you have. And they're only going to let you get so far, like Larry Elder. He ran for governor and all kinds of shit, you know. It's like you have no dignity, no self-respect, the way you're being used. You goddamn right, you are a token. Alright, let's continue on. But I just had to catch you all up to what's, so you wouldn't be, well, what the hell is this? But the Cartiers, it's these 4 Jakes, and they have their, you know, at least their YouTube site. I don't know, that's the only thing I've ever seen, but you know, they're conservative, not quite to the extreme like the Hodge twins, at least that not that I've seen, but still, no, you know. And he did a video concerning them. It's on his here the Dark Brandon site, where he goes in on them, the Cartier family there, and how they, you know, they've internalized a racism. You know, there's people like this, you know, you, as the scripture said, about not loving the world. And let's get that real quick. Let's see. And this is what they're all about. They want to please Massa. You know, and for some reason they can't see what they're doing. This is 1 John 2 and 15. Where is it? Here it is. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Alright, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Alright? And that's, you know, putting, yeah, he thinks he's doing the Lord's work, so to speak. You know, upholding Christian. First of all, that Christianity that you're in, alright, again, that's Edomite / white supremacists. That's what you're upholding. So-called white supremacist ideals. Wow.
Just hold another conference somewhere and some group meeting and it's all going to go away. It's not.
And I will agree, it is very strange how many black men are embracing Nick Fuentes' ideas and how much that involves self-hatred. And I think it also kind of is in line just with the viral trend of people going out to make money or selling out, right, for views. And just so you know, views don't pay that well unless you go super, super viral. And in both scenarios, you are completely selling out.
He's
And let's be clear here. I should have said that from the top. It doesn't matter which party you're in. All right, this whole system is wicked. All right, and a lot of jakes that were in the Democratic Party, all right, are finally coming to the realization that, hey, you've been used. The last 6 decades, you haven't got anything of substance. All right, they've been leading you on. All right, you paid no attention to what Lyndon B. Johnson said. All right, in his speeches. All right, he told you really what it was all about. Practically in your face. But our people didn't listen. Why? Because those evil Republicans, when it's both of them that are playing us. What we should have done, if you want to play that game, all right, was be neither one. All right, be independent. Have both of them come to you. Well, what you gonna do for me? Not doing that is why you got treated like you did. Why am I gonna work hard for you when you're just gonna give me your vote? Just and then it was generational, you know. I really got him. Again, Lyndon Johnson told you this.
Resonating with young people, including young black men. Let's play SOT number 5.
There's got to be one real
Here's
Nick.
Cartier's.
Can the real please stand up? There has to be one real left in America, in this damn country.
And, of course, the Cartier family here co-signed that, as we're going to see in this next clip.
I don't know, man. I think he kept it real, man.
He kept it real.
He's real.
Only a real nigga gonna say he kept it real. And try to associate themselves with exactly what Nick Fuentes was talking about. Well, in the previous week, when they were watching the Nick Fuentes video, they approached this idea in a very different way.
There's two different races of black people. We have regular black people, like us here, and then we have Gus.
And this only clearly shows the grift. It's so transparent. Not only the Cartier family grifting their audience, but Nick really kind of grifting and playing the Cartier family. And all of these things are wrong for so many reasons. Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist. Go.
Well, yeah, but were they completely off in saying that? Jake has yet to learn that some things need to be done in-house. All right? But overall, they are right. All right? You have, as in any other, all right? But it's more pronounced when it comes to Jake. All right? Yeah, you have your, you know, you got your Jakes that feed in or have fed into that or fallen into that trap. And, you know, embracing thuggery and, you know, for lack of another word, and all of that. Degeneracy, you know, all about the street life and all that. That's all they know, you know. So, yeah, in that, yeah.
Go look into what the goals of a white nationalist are. What are the end game goals? What does their nation look like? And then try to figure out where black people fit into that picture. People like the Cartier family should never be co-signing Nick Fuentes. People like Jason Whitlock never should even be aligning himself on the same side as Nick Fuentes, let alone doing years of work normalizing people like Nick Fuentes. Remember, Jason Whitlock described himself as one of the worst people in the world. You know, another idea here is that Jason Whitlock is kind of tiptoeing around these racist ideologies instead of straight out rejecting him. And he has to do this to kind of pander to his audience, because if he just
All for money at the end of the day. For money. Again, self-loathing. I don't know if he was picked on when he was a kid or bullied or I don't know. Makes you wonder though. Like, damn.
ejects white nationalism, his audience will leave him. And the Cartier family, what they're doing when they are trying to show that this white nationalistic idea that Nick Fuentes is putting out is authentic, they're delegitimizing the civil rights movement and everything that people work so hard for black people to get equal rights.
Yeah, I'm not a person that agrees with everyone.
Another mistake. Alright? Because along the way, you know, as is usually the case, alright, things got perverted. Really weren't focused on the right things. Alright? And Jake just got tricked into wanting to be so bad a part of, like he said, equality. Why would you want to be equal to someone like that? Like your oppressor? right? The focus should have been getting those businesses back that were, we were burned out and all kinds of things where we could have been. Because every time that we, strove to be somewhat independent, self-sufficient, it was sabotaged. All right, but being integrated was a big mistake, huge mistake that, you look back on it 60 years later, why did we do that? Play it right into their hands. All right, and here's guys like this saying this needs to continue. No. But you don't have to worry about that because these Edomites, they're especially the men. All right, they're reasserting their authority. That's what's going on here. They're losing their grip. They say, "Oh no, we can't." That's one of the reasons for this mass deportation, because here it is, and there's plenty of cases in the law where the Northern Kingdom, the Hispanics, they strove to be white. LULAC, that organization for the Hispanics, they said outright, when Jake Southern Kingdom reached out and tried to, all you have to do is look all this up. It's right there. Representative from LULAC back in the 50s, early 60s, he said, we have no desire to join with the Negro. He said the Negro has his own problems. That's close to verbatim that I can, so they made it known until those civil rights bills were passed in the mid-60s. And then all of a sudden, they're brown. But he's finding out now that none of that mattered. All right, because why? They've attained to some respect enough success to where it's a threat to Edom, the so-called white man. Like it happened to us, but we tried to warn you. That's all I can say. That's these other motherfuckers here, because this is what white supremacy does. You hear jackasses like this, the Whitlocks, the Larry Elders, and the Officer Tatums, and there are some more. All right, they're all about. That's why you can't feel sorry for them, and damn sure can't respect them. All right, these modern day Dathans and.
But I think a lot of what he says is undeniably the truth.
He's winning, and these. Well, you know what? We're just gonna go out and teach a better form of dispensationalism.
Oh,
That'll
boy.
fix it. Not gonna fix it.
And again, for Jason Whitlock to be acting so disappointed, this is the monster he built. He played a role in getting society to this place, normalizing all of this disgusting behavior.
Yep.
It's not going to fix it. Cat's out of the bag. And we're going to have conversations that Thomas Massey's been promoting, Marjorie Taylor Greene's been promoting, Tucker's been promoting, and you're going to get called names, and you're going to have, and it may cost you money.
And this is when it just kind of goes off the rails and stops making sense. Like, first of all, what does he mean the cat's out of the bag? Last time I checked, racism existed since day one in America. And then, what does he mean that it can cost you money? Again, he's not outright like rejecting white nationalists or, shouting down racism. He's tiptoeing around and then saying that you're gonna have to chip in a couple of bucks, like we're all eating out of TKR Fridays or something. I don't understand. So Jason goes on to really show concern about the rise of Nick Fuentes and how much of the right are embracing him. He also knows that Nick Fuentes has recently abandoned MAGA and the role that he could potentially play in the next election. I mean, if we even have one.
He's winning the Trump argument right now. He has walked away from MAGA. And that's been very frustrating. That was a big part of the reason why Alex Jones had him on yesterday, is because it's not that Trump needs him for his next election, but whoever Trump's successor is going to need Nick Fuentes and that energy and the young people he brings to the table, the young men he brings to the table. They're going to need him.
So, in the end, what we're watching here is a slow motion collapse of the so-called traditional values on the American right. For years, commentators like Jason Whitlock cashed in on moral panic, telling audiences the danger was feminism or the woke culture or Black Lives Matter, while at the same time laundering and normalizing the rhetoric of actual white nationalists. They blurred the line between mainstream conservatism and extremist grievance politics so thoroughly that now when someone like Nick Fuentes gains real traction, the very people who opened the door act surprised. They talk about his talent and his influence without ever grappling with the true hatred at the center of his message, because they know that's what resonates with their audience. They'll point out his power, but stop short of condemning his ideology, because to do so would mean admitting the role they played, and that's the heart of it. The right can't call out white nationalism without implicating themselves. They spent years platforming it, excusing it, and downplaying its racism whenever it was politically convenient. Now, as Fuentes and his movement gain momentum, they clutch their pearls, not because of what he believes, but because they fear losing control of the monster they helped create. This isn't a crisis of young men suddenly falling for white nationalism. This is a crisis of leaders and influencers who degraded their own moral compass so much that when actual racists come knocking, they opened the door, invited them in, and poured them a drink. Now the house is on fire, and they still won't admit who lit the match.
Exactly. This is what you voted for. This is the monster that he's talking about. This is what he helped to create. All of them, really. This place is wicked. It has to go. That's why we were, going over these prophecies and Ezekiel 38 and 39 and from Revelation 12. Currently, just did 15 and 16. So 17 coming up. This place has pissed off all of its allies, might as well say former allies, a lot due to its, the state of Israel having its hand up America's behind, because they've shown who really, has control. America has been that big bad bully on the block, and Israel, has been behind it. And everybody is tired of it. Everybody is tired of it. People see many things from the outside that people on the inside don't see. You have people that are leaving America now because actually they have been since 2008, 2009, but it's speeding up just the last few years because people see the writing on the wall. But Jake is still out here trying to, have fun, not aware of anything beyond the hood. And you can't feel sorry for, coming up on Jacob's trouble. Because this guy Trump, he's man, no cut cards. All right, but trust me on this. He's doing what his handlers, and I have to put it that way, are telling him to do. All right, so once again, this has been Dark Brandon website, and right here we're talking about these stooges that are set up. They set these jakes up to say things that they can't, and as you saw as an example, those, I think they're all brothers. These so-called black conservatives, But you gotta understand, they're both working together. They're both, as I like to say, going to Revelation 13 and verse 11, they're both working together. They're both part of the same system here. All right. And our people, unfortunately, get caught up in that dichotomy, and it's the whole thing. It's got to go. That's why that's what we pray for, We've got to, let me get I think I'll close with this, because you've got to be in that mindset. This is some bullshit. I want to get up out of here. And this is Isaiah. Whoa. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. What the hell was that? I know I hit Isaiah. What the hell? Alright, here we go. Yeah, you got to be in this frame of mind here. It says, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose. You want this shit to hurry up and be over. Alright? And that he should not die in the pit. This pit is this system. Alright? And it's designed to trip and keep Jake at a certain level. It says, nor that his bread should fail. Which should remind you of what? Alright? Let's go to 2 Peter. Let's go on down here to 10. Alright, it says, but the hold on. Come on here. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. Don't get caught up, alright, in crap like this. Alright, these people are so far gone. I mean, they want to be master's pet. It says, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So as a result, it says 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? This place is through. While you're dwelling on, shit that's going to be destroyed. That's what we're working for here, trying to get out of here. We don't want to be taken down with America. That's what we're working towards. We're out here telling our people this is what you should be focused on instead of all this BS in this world. Because it's not going to be here much longer. I mean, it's going to get really bad here. You've got America just being America. You've got a lot of, what word should I use here? Spoiled. And everybody across the world sees it as the arrogance, the exceptionalism of Americans. Alright? And where is that? Let's see. Oh, I used my last video, Sirach, or Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7, about pride being hateful for both God and man. Alright? And the hubris of Americans. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, you got, but they're gonna get theirs. Don't worry. You got Jakes like this. You know, they just take it way too far. Trust me, those Jakes that are acting a certain way, oh, they're gonna get theirs. Don't worry. Some of that was on display here in D.C. where, you know, going at it with these cops. And this isn't even, this is just a mild thing to what's to come. This is like information gathering exercise or recon, or, you know, okay. Okay. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views this is edified. It's been Jason Whitlock, helped build up white nationalism, and now he's scared. Oh well. Alright, so once again, I'd like to remind you all to, alright, be wary of everything going on around you, because we know certain people, that being the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, so-called white people, really can't handle you know, their downfall, their what's the word I'm looking for? Good gracious, let's see. They lack integrity, but there's another way to put it. They're seeing their power slip from them. They're seeing their kingdom fall, and they can't handle it. So they're wilding out here. And usually that means what you're seeing: school shootings, shootings in crowded spaces. That's why I always say at the end of my videos, be circumspect out here. All right. So with that, until the next video, shalom.